So let's dive into one of the most talked about, most controversial books maybe of the last 50 years, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. What is it about this book that makes it so potent? So divisive. For starters, it kind of comes with its own warning label.
And no, that's not some clever marketing gimmick. It's a fact. In some prisons, this book is treated like a weapon. It's actual contraband, considered way too dangerous for inmates to get their hands on.
So why? What could be so dangerous about a book? Well, the answer is pretty simple and, frankly, pretty unsettling. The book lays out a cold, hard philosophy on power, and both its critics and its fans would agree on one thing. It is a masterclass in how to manipulate other people.
To really get what this book is about, you have to understand its fundamental premise. Greene argues that power dynamics are everywhere. They are an inescapable part of just being human. You don't get to just opt out.
See, according to Greene, if you ignore this game, it doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you a pawn for someone else. The only way you can even protect yourself, let alone get what you want, is to become a master student of human nature and a master player of the game.
The way Greene frames our modern world is like we're all living in a giant, historical royal court. You know, on the surface, everything seems polite, civilized, but underneath, it's a constant battle. It's a place where you can't use brute force, so you have to rely on seduction, deception, and subtle, brilliant strategy. It's a civilized war.
And that, of course, brings us to the laws themselves, the actual tactical advice that makes this book so notorious. Let's take a look at a couple of the most infamous ones, shall we?
First up, let's look at law number 6. This one cuts right to the heart of our world today, our attention-obsessed society.
The thinking here is simple, and it is absolutely brutal. Everything is judged by how it looks. If you're unseen, you count for nothing. Being criticized or attacked is one thing, but being ignored, that's like death. You have to stand out. You have to be seen no matter what it takes.
Just think about the master of this, P.T. Barnum. He literally faked a bizarre creature, this Fiji mermaid, and it sparked a nationwide debate. Barnum got it. He knew it doesn't matter if the attention is good or bad. Once all eyes are on you, you have a kind of power. You're suddenly legitimate, just because you're the one everyone's talking about. Okay, so if you thought that was a little intense, let's keep going. The next one is maybe the most chilling law in the entire book, and it perfectly captures its ruthless core. Right, this isn't about just winning. It's about ending the war for good. The logic is that if you leave even one little ember glowing, it can always spark back into a huge fire. A wounded enemy is dangerous. They'll recover, and they will seek revenge. So you can't show mercy. Annihilation, he argues, is the only real path to safety. And history gives us a brilliant, if terrifying, example of this in action. When Mao captured his rival Chiang Kai-shek, he didn't just execute him. No, he found a much more strategic way to crush him. He basically forced Chiang's army to do all the heavy fighting against the Japanese invaders. So Chiang's forces were completely worn down, bled dry, decimated. Mao used one enemy to destroy another, making sure his rival would never be strong enough to challenge him again. It was a masterstroke that cleared his path to absolute power. So these laws are obviously incredibly tactical, but what's the engine that drives them all? What's going on under the hood? It's not just about what you do, it's about a deep, almost predatory understanding of human psychology.
Greene's whole argument is that you have to learn to see past the mask that everybody wears. I mean, people put on this polished, rational front, right? But what really drives them, that's all hidden. It's their insecurities, their secret wants, their deepest fears. That's the real control panel.
And that might be the single most important idea in the whole book. This isn't just a list of tactics. At its core, the 48 Laws of Power is a manual for becoming a master psychologist, for seeing through what Greene calls the cloud of dust with which people surround their actions.
And once you have that understanding, once you can see that hidden control panel, you can follow a very clear path. You don't argue with logic, you soften people up with their emotions. You don't make demands, you play on their fears and their desires until they want to go in the direction you've chosen. They become, in Greene's own chilling words, your loyal pawn.
So, yeah. Hearing all this, it leads us to the big question, right? The debate that has followed this book around since the day it was published. What exactly is this thing?
Is it a dark, twisted instruction manual for psychopaths who don't have a conscience? Or is it actually a necessary survival guide for getting by in a world that, whether we like it or not, is already playing by these exact same rules?
I mean, you can make a strong case for both sides. On one hand, it's a survival guide, right? It shows you to dark arts so you can defend yourself against them. It's just admitting that power is a reality. But then, the other argument is just as powerful. This book seems tailor-made for psychopaths. It openly teaches deception, it completely disregards empathy, and it sees other people as just objects to be used.
But Greene has a fascinating counterpunch for his critics. He warns you to be wary of the people who act like they're above the game, the ones who wear their weakness like it's a moral virtue. Because, he says, those people are often the most ruthless and cunning players of all. They're just better at hiding their moves.
So, in the end, maybe the book itself isn't good or evil. Maybe it's just a tool, a powerful one. And like any tool, its morality really depends on the person who decides to pick it up and use it. It's really just a mirror reflecting the dark potential inside all of us and the brutal realities of a competitive world.
And that brings us to the final question, the one Greene kind of leaves hanging in the air for you to answer yourself. In this constant, civilized war that we're all a part of, you have to wear a mask. The only real question is, which one are you going to choose?